So I walked over to the front door and slowly opened it, to find myself looking at a tall, hazel-eyed, weirdly attractive woman with long hair and clean-cut bangs, standing in front of my apartment in the middle of the night, arms crossed in front of her with a devious grin on her face, wearing a genuine Victorian maid outfit. And before a hard slam of the door, I dismissed the new incarnation of bullshit with a quick, "Nope."
"What the hell was that?"
I heard Madison yell from the shower. "Nothing! Don't worry about it." I half called back to her, looking through the curtains to watch the weirdly dressed woman examine the door. She'll never shut up about it if she knows a goddamn maid just randomly showed up at my front door. I mumbled to myself as I turned to retreat back into the apartment. "Shit!" I squealed as I turned around and almost ran straight into the strange woman. Or rather, a particularly protrusive part of her upper anatomy.
"What's going on out there?"
Madison screamed again. "What? Nothing! Just take your time!" I answer, still half distracted by the chest I almost got clotheslined by. Jesus Christ, are those even real? I mean, how and why are you in here right now? You cannot be in here right now for so many reasons. Leave! Now!
"No," she told me plainly in a sultry voice. "In fact, I thought I'd stay a while," she added, plopping down on my couch. "Cool stuff," she said, craning her head around, looking at my wall of movie props. "They all real?"
Oh my god, my nerves can't take this right now. I groaned, reaching into my pocket for my phone. This is gonna give me an ulcer.
"Hey, what are you up to over there?"
she asked, turning back towards me when she noticed my phone. "Texting my girlfriend to let her know there's a random maid with a huge rack camped out in my living room. I don't want her showing up unexpectedly and find your ass here," I explained without looking up from the screen.
How honest of you," she said with a sly grin.
As she said that, my phone beeped with Destiny's reply. "What the hell?" I said to myself as I read it. She said I'm honest and open. How the fuck did you do that? I asked the weird woman, finally looking up from my screen.
"How did I do what? I don't know what you're talking about."
Sure you don't. Okay. Next question. Who are you, why are you here, and what are you? I asked her in frustration as I stood over her.
"Isn't it obvious? I'm a maid,"
she said sarcastically.
"Dressed for the occasion, right? Aren't we supposed to be in a harem anime right now? What? Not into it? How about a 50s mobster?"
she asked as she snapped her fingers, and in an instant she was in a completely different outfit. Old pinstripe shirt, suspenders, fedora and all. Exactly how I'd picture an old mobster.
"How is it? This doing it for you?"
"How did you do that?"
"No? Yeah, you're probably right. Hard to top a classic after all," she said dismissively, snapping her fingers, and just like that her original maid outfit was back. No, wait. You think the ruffles around the apron is a little too much?"
she asked, giving her fingers another snap, changing the apron to a longer one without the frill stuff on it.
"Yeah, I think I like this better."
"Okay, that's it. You gotta go," I said, grabbing her by the wrist and pulling her off the couch. But she didn't budge an inch. Jesus Christ, of course you're stupid strong too. Damn it! Okay, that's it. I'm telling Destiny to come and she's gonna throw you out herself.
"Tattletale," I heard her huff as I typed.
"Help me, I'm scared," and sent the text. "Okay, my girlfriend's on her way and you're about to get out."
"Oh, scary,"
the mystery woman on my couch said mockingly, and a little louder than she needed to. As she said that, I heard the bathroom door open and took my eyes off her for just a second, terrified of Madison seeing a strange maid woman in my apartment. The soaking wet and ass-naked Madison who is headed straight for me.
"Seriously, who are you talking to out here?"
she shouts at me, right before Destiny pops up in the middle of my kitchen, looking right at us. And I glance over to see the couch and nobody there.
"I think you might be dealing with an evil mastermind."
Relic's statement echoes in my mind for some reason, as I stand there like a deer in the headlights.
"So, anyone want to tell me what's going on here? Destiny asked, right after Madison covers her naked body. Now, she added sternly.
I don't see what the big deal is. It's nothing he hasn't seen already.
She griped to herself as she stomped off towards Riss's room.
Hey, hold on! That didn't mean what it sounded like! Exactly.
I tried to explain as her head slowly turned my way, the red in her eyes getting a little brighter as she raised her eyebrow at me.
So, Madison was your first girlfriend. That's how you know each other.
Destiny says as all three of us sit around the kitchen table after me and Madison explain everything.
And that's the reason she was standing naked in the middle of your apartment, alone with you, her ex-boyfriend.
She was in the shower and heard me talking to the woman sitting on my couch. The one I told you about?
Yes. The big-titted maid.
She reviewed as she examined my text on her phone.
The woman who mysteriously vanished just seconds before I got here, who Madison didn't see either. That woman.
Yeah, that one. I sighed, lowering my head down onto the table as I spoke.
Jose, you get that this sounds pretty crazy. Even for you, right?
Destiny added softly.
Did you go see Miss Angeline today like you were supposed to?
Yes, I went straight there after the CERBER thing. I mumbled into my crossed arms from the table. Some guy was there asking a bunch of questions about the stuff I'd been through, and I kinda started to freak out.
So you're saying being reminded of all that stuff made you start to panic or something?
She questioned further. Yeah, I guess.
It sounds like you were triggered by it,
Destiny said, leaning down to look me in the eye. What? Nah, it didn't offend me, I didn't want to think about it right then.
That's not what that means. That's just a bunch of assholes on the internet that say it that way. It's a clinical term for like autistic people and people with PTSD. Jose, I think you might have PTSD,
she tried to explain. Psh, calm down, I don't have PTSD.
I think you might have PTSD,
Miss Angeline said as I sat in her office for the second time in 2 days.
I've been suspecting so for a little while now, and I still want to sort through some more stuff before making a formal diagnosis. But this most recent incident is really pointing us in that direction. I really wish you would have mentioned this in our session yesterday. Things like this are important, and I want you to know you can be honest and open with me.
Honest and what? I suddenly shouted as I heard the same words again.
Honest and open. You said that's what Destiny said about you. That you're open and honest with her. I'd like you to think you can talk to me that way as well, she explained. Now I'd also like to ask you about something related to that, she added as she checked her notes. Why did you keep that you and this Madison girl used to be an item from Destiny?
I guess I was kind of embarrassed. Like, Madison is... Well, you'd have to know her.
Embarrassed? What do you mean by that? Are you suggesting she's perhaps unattractive and you don't want people you know to know because of that?
Well, no, she's pretty, I guess. She's just horrible. A horrible, horrible person.
Is that all that comes to mind? That's it? She's just a bad person?
She asked, glancing up from her notes. Well, if I had to come up with something...
No, you don't have to.
She stopped me.
But do something for me, okay? The next time you find yourself at odds with her, just try thinking of some of her qualities that made you want to date her in the first place. Just think of something good about her, and see if that doesn't help. Can you do that for me?
Yeah, I'll try.
Now tell me about that maid of yours. How'd it go?
Destiny asked as I walked out of the building. Hard to say, but I guess you were right. She thinks I might have PTSD too. Damn it.
So what happens now?
She said as she walked me over to my bike. Well, she gave me a prescription for Zoloft, I answered, holding up a piece of paper to read. Said it's an anxiety medication, but they also use it to manage PTSD symptoms. And according to her, I at least definitely have anxiety.
That makes sense, I guess. Your job is pretty high up there on the list of stressful ones to have. You know, on top of everything else, she said with a shrug. Here, give me the paper and your ID. I'll get it for you and take it to the apartment. I'll be waiting there when you get back, she told me, holding out her hand and wiggling her fingers.
Here you go. What are you going to do after that? I asked, handing her the slip.
I'm going to check on something, then I'll meet you back at the apartment,
she answered before kissing me on the cheek and vanishing in a puff. I just stood there a while to take in a few breaths before reaching into my pocket and opening the CERBER app. I took one more deep breath as my thumb hovered over the active button. Fuck it. Let's go get that bread. I sighed as I tapped the screen and headed to camp out at one of my regular waiting spots. After sitting there and rocking back and forth on the top tube of my bike for a while, my stomach started to growl. And that's when I realized I was still running on empty from the night before. And I had a craving. So I pulled up Google and searched for the best New York-style pizza in LA. After my phone basically laughed in my face, I settled for a place I knew at least had good spinach pizza from what everyone was saying, and then headed that direction. So once I get there, I grab my slices and walk back out to my bike. But as I leave the restaurant, who do I walk past but... Jekyll, what are you doing here? Well, it's a pizzeria, so seems a bit axiomatic, doesn't it? He answered, pausing in front of the door. I've come for the pizza. Yeah, stupid question. Just not used to seeing you outside the manor, I guess, I responded. Now that you mention it, though, he said, reaching into his pocket and retrieving a piece of half-charred paper. I found this in my lab after that little tart threw all that rubbish in the middle of my lab and blew half my workspace to hell. What about it? I asked him, taking it from him. I can't read it. It's Romanian. Destiny said she can't either because she's forgot how. Bollocks. She done no such thing. They've been using the same alphabet English uses since before she was born, and I know she still knows how to speak Romanian. He explained. It's just a hunch. But I suspect that she don't want you to know that stuff. Most of it got burned away. And what's left here? Awful scandalous stuff it is. Wait, you can speak Romanian? I asked, looking up from the paper. What does it say? Yeah, I can. Spent some time in Transylvania a while back, helping the old count check into some stuff. And no can do. It's not for me to say. Private matter, that is. But you might want to give it a looking into, he said with a concerned look on his face before strolling into the restaurant. I was halfway through my pizza when I got a text from Rissa. She said something about making a delivery to a weird British guy's house, an old mansion. That's when it hit me. Crowley, the guy I got the Flavortown joke from. He stays in a spooky old mansion when he's in town, and if she said she had just made a delivery, then that must have meant she'd already... Crowley's place. How'd you get by the hellhounds? I replied back, remembering how hard it was for me to get around them the first few times. After a pause, I got another text. It looks like she started to ask, what's a hellhound? But the end of the text was all garbled as she dropped the phone or something. And then I got the text that tied my insides in knots. She must have accidentally sent a picture because I got a blurry image of her mid-sprint to where I could just make out several pairs of glowing red eyes, right over her shoulder. Damn it, Rissa! I yelled, swinging my legs over my bike and bolting in the direction of Crowley's place as fast as I could spin the pedals. Where the hell is Relic? I could hear the barking and snarling before I could see her, but as soon as I rounded the corner, I saw her hauling ass with the 3 shadowy figures right on her trail. Rissa, keep going the way you're going! They never follow past Cazador Street! I shouted at her as soon as I rode up next to her. Damien! Marla! Freckles! Come on! Come get me! I screamed, trying to get the hound's attention. And I did? It didn't take much, because they kinda hate me in particular for some reason. Are you gonna be okay? Rissa shouted after me. I have no idea, just keep pedaling. I'll meet you back at the apartment. All I had to do was make it as far as Cazador Street, and I'd be in the clear, just like always. I felt my heart flutter a little once I could see the intersection in the distance. And then, just as I crossed, They kept following.
What the hell?
I shrieked when they didn't stop where they usually do.
What the hell? What the hell?
I repeated over and over as I felt my legs start to give out, the hound's teeth snapping close enough to tear shreds of cloth from the tail of my shirt. And during all of that, I still couldn't help but be distracted by the woman standing on the other side of the road watching this all unfold, in an old-fashioned maid outfit. I felt my jaw drop as I rode by, seeing that malevolent glimmer in her eyes. Can't believe what I'm seeing right now, I thought in a morbid panic as the hounds got closer and closer. Need a hand? The maid suddenly asked from right next to my head as she hovered beside me. I can deal with that if you ask real nice. But you might want to hurry. Freckles looks hungry, she said with a widening grin.
Oh my god, whatever! Will you please do something about the son of a bitch hellhounds?
I yelled back at her as I pedaled for dear life. And just like that, she was gone, and the sounds of barking and snarling hounds along with her.
Oh my god, you made it!
Risa squeaked as I walked through the door later that night, running up to hug me in the process.
I didn't think I was going to make it until you showed up the last second. How'd you get away?
That maid chick did something and they were all gone. It all happened kind of fast. I tried to explain as I shrugged my bag off and kicked my shoes over into the corner. But then I turned to see this weird look on Risa's face, like she was confused by what I just said. What is it?
What are you talking about? What maid?
She asked, her eyebrows raising a little.
Didn't you say that if you go far enough they stop chasing you?
How did you not see her? She was right there on the other side of the road.
You told me to go off in a different direction, and then you rode off without me,
she answered, still a little confusion in her voice.
Jose, are you sure that you're okay? Is Jose still seeing that imaginary friend of his?
Madison suddenly called from upstairs.
Madison's here again? Why is she always here?
I complained in almost rhythmic frustration, and then it hit me as soon as I noticed Risa couldn't look me in the eyes.
Does she live here? Madison, are you living here? You finally figured it out, huh?
I heard her shout down from Risa's room.
What are you doing?
Risa asked as I snatched my phone out of my pocket and started typing.
Shh, no speaking,
I told her, holding a finger up between us. A few seconds later, Destiny poofs into the middle of the room with a worried look on her face.
Is everything okay? Jose said someone was about to die,
she shouted as she scanned the room. Someone is if I don't leave right now. I'll explain later, just poof near a trash can or a toilet, I told her, walking around the room and standing next to her, never taking my eyes off Risa.
Oh, okay. Just hold on tight, I guess,
Destiny said before that familiar feeling of being snatched up by my intestines washed over me. Before I knew it, I was on the floor in the bathroom across from Destiny's room, arching my neck over the side of the toilet bowl and blowing chunks into it. Oh my god, why does it almost kill me when you or your dad do it, but I don't feel a thing when Relic does it? I asked as I dry heaved onto the cold tile. That's a wonderful question, actually, Jekyll chirped, poking his head around the corner. Off the top of my head, I'm betting when them two does it, they pass through some kind of extra-dimensional space that's maybe non-temporal. So the passage of time seems instantaneous, but folks like you and me, we don't belong there. Not compatible with the physics or something like that. So it puts us through the ringer. But with your mate Relic, supposing it's some kind of quantum tunneling, entanglement buggery. But it'd have to be on a scale we ain't never observed or even thought was possible.
Have you ever thought about that before?
Destiny asked, patting me on the back as I fought back another retch. Nope. So you just came up with that on the fly? I asked, choking back another round of vomit. Yeah, more or less. Probably wrong about some or all. Couldn't say without testing the stuff, so who really knows? He answered with a shrug before strolling back down the hall to his lab. And that's when I suddenly remembered the piece of paper he gave me, and chose to ignore it. I was already frustrated enough for one day.
Huh, I thought she was spending an unusual amount of time there. Makes sense now, I guess.
Destiny said as she sat on the bed, her legs crossed and her hands in her lap.
I guess I would be a little upset too.
God, this is a pink-ass room, I mumbled as I looked around.
You say that every time you're in here,
Destiny said with a scowl.
I know, but
never mind. I surrendered, noticing a picture of Destiny and her sisters. It looked old, like back when people never smiled in photos and you had to stand there for like forever for it to work. So how are you guys doing with, you know? I asked, pointing to the photograph.
Huh? Oh, you mean fate?
She asked in response as she turned to see what I was pointing at. She just sat there for a minute thinking it over. And when she finally answered with a deep sigh,
it's still weird. I guess when you're with someone for so long, when you get used to seeing them and talking to them every day for centuries, and then one day, they're just suddenly not there anymore. It's hard to describe, you know? I still catch myself saving pictures and videos I think she'll like, or sometimes I'll get excited to tell her something, and then I remember I can't anymore.
Her answer made me feel kinda crappy for complaining about everything the way it was. So I decided to just shut up and lay back, resting my head on Destiny's lap. Boyfriend benefits, am I right? What about your mom? I asked. Where's she?
She died a long time ago. All our moms did. I can barely remember mine.
What, you all had different moms?
Well, yeah, couldn't you tell? The hair should be a dead giveaway. Fate was the only one that got dads. I was always so jealous of her for that. It was so pretty and she'd never take care of it, she huffed, which made me turn to re-examine the old photo of her on the nightstand. She really did have the deepest black hair you could imagine. It kinda stood out now that I thought about it, almost unnatural compared to everything else in the image. So your moms were just regular people, huh? I mumbled again as I felt my eyes start to get heavy. Sounds like the Count was a real ladies' man once in a time, huh? Yeah, that's where I get my irresistible charm, she said, looking down at me with a smile, the angle giving her a few extra chins.
I could see that, I chuckled.
Just try to get some rest, okay?
She told me as she played with my hair. I squeaked as I jolted back awake later that night. What the hell? Oh, wait, right, Destiny's room. I said to myself as I looked around. Weirdly enough, I couldn't find Destiny, so I assumed she must have went to the bathroom, or the kitchen to get a midnight snack, or something like that she needs to tend to. Realizing I had to pee too, I rolled out of an unusually cushy bed and shuffled towards the bathroom. She wasn't in there, so I figured she was in the kitchen after all. So I'd concluded my business and I stumbled out into the hall, my eyes still barely open. Then I heard it again.
Jose?
Hey, who's that? Who's doing that? Destiny? Don't mess with me, woman, because I'll cry if I have to, I begged as I searched around for the source of the voice. Before long, I was standing in front of the door to the underground castle, wondering if finding out was really that important after all. As I slowly cracked the door, the dim light of the desk lamp on the coffee table spilled in and washed across the face of... Fate? Fate, is that you, or am I losing my shit again? I asked into the dark entrance of the castle. But nobody answered as she vanished down the stairs and out of sight. Oh, god damn it. I groaned, but I still hurried to follow. I knew what I saw, and if she was still alive somehow, I knew I had to make sure so I could go tell Destiny. Oh god, I forgot how creepy this place is, I whispered to myself as I felt my way through the corridors. It took some wandering before I saw a shimmer of light at the end of the long hall. Creeping slowly forward, eased my head around the corner to see a small room lit by a single torch. And in the middle was... Fate. As alive as the first day I met her. Hey there, have you just been hiding out down here the whole time? I tried to say, but what came out was barely a whisper as I inched slowly towards her. You're really here, aren't you? I asked cautiously, my hand outstretched. But right before I could touch her,
She vanished, and I was left standing in the middle of the room alone. At first. Then, as the light from the torch began to grow, I could start to make out things hanging from the stone walls. Rusty iron shackles, holding up the rotting remains of human bodies. Some looked like they'd been there forever. Others looked like they were there for only a few months. I could smell the foul odor of decay seeping off of them, almost making me gag as I covered my nose to stop the smell. And then they started to move. The iron chains began to rattle as the skeletal corpses began to jerk and convulse. That was already too much. I spun in place to make a run for it, but I almost ran straight into the wall. The entrance was gone. I was stuck inside the room with no way out. What the hell is going on? I yelled over the rattling chaos echoing across the walls.
Not scared of the dead bodies, are you?
I heard a voice speak into my ear. I spun around in a panic to face fate again.
Sounds like you have a guilty conscience. You should be careful about that. You never know what might push you over the edge,
she said with a nasty, twisted grin before shoving me into the far wall. As soon as my back hit the brick, one of the corpse's arms broke free of the shackles and wrapped itself around my neck. I screamed in agony as it sunk its teeth deep into my neck and I felt the warm blood flow down my chest. Ah! I looked around as I sat upright in the middle of Destiny's bed, covered in sweat and trying to figure out where I was and what just happened. I turned to see Destiny, who had been sleeping next to me, now staring with her eyes wide as hubcaps from where she had huddled up in the corner between her bed and her nightstand.
Jose, are you okay? I think you just had a bad nightmare,
she asked as she eased herself out of the crevice.
You just shut up and started screaming out of nowhere. You scared the shit out of me.
No, wait. She was in here. She was down in the castle. There was a room. Oh, there she is! I yelled, jumping out of bed and fumbling my way over to the window before throwing it open. I saw her! She was watching us through the window, just now!
Jose, who are you talking about?
She asked with a heavy tone of concern in her voice. Fate, I saw your sister. She was just... here.
She's dead. You know that. You must have been dreaming about her because we were talking about her before you went to sleep. Slow down. Take some breaths before you hurt yourself.
She tried to calm me down as I stuck my head outside to get a better view of her escape route. I'm telling you, I just saw it.
Jose, sit down and stop it!
She suddenly yelled at me.
I know you're going through a hard time right now, but I just don't have it in me to keep explaining to you that my sister is dead. Now go to sleep or I will put you to sleep.
I stopped in my tracks as the guilt washed over me. After I closed the window, I dragged myself back over to the bed and slid myself under the blanket. Happy Gilmore. Good reference, I said softly as I scooched up next to it. Sorry. You're right. The dream really freaked me out. It just seemed so real. I apologized.
I'm sorry too. I didn't mean to yell like that,
she told me as she pulled the blanket up over herself and wiggled into place.
Now try to get some sleep.
Okay, I'll try, I told her, and as I stared at the faint glimmer of eyes looking back at me from just outside the window.
Ghosts of the darkness, bleaker than night, proud on the terrace, wait for the light. They put out the fires that burn in our hearts, scaring the senseless, taking order apart. Are you scared yet? The monsters are real. Are you scared yet?
If you enjoyed this, please support the amazing author behind the work, Joshua Wagner, on Patreon.